All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Journey to Greatness, day 340 of 365. We are coming into the final days. So we're going to get into our meditation routine. I will see you all on the other side here shortly. All right, everybody, welcome back. So we just finished our meditation routine, and now we're getting into our reading routine. I will see you all on the other side. All right, everybody, welcome back. Good morning. Good morning, Auntie Luisa. So we just finished our reading routine, and now we're getting into our journaling routine. I will see you all on the other side. All right, my friends, welcome back. Okay, so as we were saying yesterday, we are in the richest man in Babylon book, and yesterday, before my camera went off or my internet disconnected, bum. I was going into. I introduced two characters. One was Kobe, and one was Barnier. Let me make sure I got that right. Oh, Basir, right? I think it's Basir. Let me make sure, though. Three characters I introduced. Banzir. So Banzir, Kobe, Arkad, and Algamish. And so yesterday, to continue from where we left off, where we have Banzir pretty much coming to the realization that he deserves everything, everything that is more than suffering, everything that is abundance, everything that is happiness, everything that is wealth. He deserves all of it, as we all do. And he came into this realization he started asking the questions of his best friend Kobe, like, how come we work so hard? Why are we laboring so hard, but yet we're living paycheck to paycheck, essentially? And yet we don't have all the things that we always dream about or that our imagination possess, which are all really, really good questions. And to me, from an outsider looking in, I believe that it's a true projection and dynamic observation of him coming into his greatness. So it's a perfect example of what it looks like. When you start having questions like that, feel empowered, be inspired, and to execute and to change your situation. And it starts with your mindset. And I think that's where we left off yesterday. So once you make that decision mentally and you start questioning, like, well, why don't I have the nicest things? Why don't I have financial freedom? Why don't I have? And when those questions start coming up, then internalize them, take a moment to receive the blessing that's been bestowed upon you, and start executing into the direction of changing your entire life and your entire generational DNA. To continue, so I labored, but the law was long, and when Algamish returned, the task was unfinished. Okay, so pause. Algamish. One moment. Okay, so Algamish is a money lender. Arkad is the wealthiest man is the wealthiest man in Babylon. And one day, Algamish, the moneylender, came to the house of the city master and ordered a copy of the ninth law. And he said to me, Bansir, I must have this in 2 days. And if this task is done by that time, 2 coppers will I give to you, or to thee. So I labored hard, but the law was long. And when Algamish returned, the task was unfinished. He was angry, and had I been his slave, had I been his slave, he would have beaten me. But knowing the city master would not permit him to injure me, I was unafraid. So I said to him, Algamish, you are a very rich man. Tell me how I may also become rich. And all night I will carve upon you the clay. And when the sun rises, it shall be completed. He smiled and he smiled at me and replied, You are a forward knave. You are a forward knave. But we will call it a bargain. So he agreed to tell him what how he created his wealth or how to become rich. All that night I carved, though my back pained and the smell of the wick made my head ache until my eyes could hardly see. But when he returned at sunup, the tablets were complete. Now, I said, tell me what you promised. You have fulfilled your part of our bargain, my son, he said to me kindly, and I am ready to fulfill mine. I will tell you these things you wish to know, because I am becoming an old man, and an old tongue loves to wag. And when youth comes to age for advice, he receives the wisdom of years. But too often does youth think that age knows only the wisdom of days that are gone, and therefore profits not. But remember this, the sun shines today is the sun that shone when thy father was born, and will be shining when thy last grandchild shall pass into the darkness. Huge. That gives me goosebumps. First off, that's a huge mistake for anybody who's youth or young to look at age as past wisdom. People who experience life, and this just goes to attest to a concept that we've introduced like back in like day 200 something, maybe even sooner than that. The most beautiful thing about relationships and friendships and network is that you get people of all different ages. You get to experience all different levels of experiences, history and wisdom. And so the most wonderful thing about that, I think, or I feel, is that when you're speaking to someone who's been on earth for so long, you are able to correct and adjust your current steps to make sure that you do not continue down the same path that they did, but you get the same result and you get it even faster. So that's the beautiful part and the beautiful nature of just experiencing life and the journey that you will share among, people. Why is that important? Well, that's really important because um, the laws, just like the laws of building wealth, are the same, and pretty much unchanged. They don't change. They improve or they increase, or there's more of them, but they don't change. The method in which you have this formula A, B, C is consistent and has been consistent, obviously, for years, for centuries upon centuries. And like Algamish said, the sun that that was shown the day that your father was born is the same sun that's going to show when your grandchildren die and pass on to the darkness. So that is the reason why Algamish has decided to give to Bansir his wisdom and to answer his question about how to build wealth. Okay. The thoughts of youth, he continued, are bright lights that shine forth like the meteors that oft make brilliant the sky. But the wisdom of age is like the fixed stars that shine so unchanged that the sailor may depend upon them to steer his course. So to my point, what I just said, in a very artistic and poetic way. Mark, you are well for you are well Mark. Mark, you are well Mark you mel Mark you Mark you well my words. For if you do not you will fail to grasp the truth that I tell you, and you will think that your night's work has been in vain. So in other words, Algamesh is like, listen to what I'm saying to you, because the formula I'm getting ready to give you is going to be very, very powerful. And if you don't understand, or if you don't take the time to really listen to what I'm saying to you, or what I'm suggesting to you, or the answer to your question, then you will feel as if this clay tablet that you just created for me and you've spent all night doing will have been for nothing. Then he looked at me shrewdly from under his shaggy brows and said in a low, forceful tone, I found the road to wealth when I decided that a part of all I earned was mine to keep, and so will you. Then he continued to look at me with a glance that I could feel pierce me, but said no more. Is that all? I asked. That was sufficient to change the heart of a sheep herder into the heart of a moneylender. So, in other words, that's how Algamish went from being a sheep herder to a moneylender. But all I earn is mine to keep, is it not? I demanded. Far from it, he replied. Do you not pay the garment maker? Do you pay the sandal maker? Do you not pay for the things you eat? Can you live in Babylon without spending? What have you to show for your earnings of the past month? What for the past year? Fool, you pay to everyone but yourself. Doolard, uh, you labor for others. As well, be a slave and work for what your master gives you to eat and wear. If you did keep for yourself 1/10 of all you earn, how much would you have in 10 years? Super duper important, because we just talked about this yesterday. And I think this is a perfect finish to our journey to greatness. This book is going to be, because if I told you that you could become a millionaire if you woke up every single day for 1 year at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and you meditated, you journaled, and you read books. If you woke up every single day and you did these three things, and you did it for an entire year, you'd be a millionaire, Would you do it? That was the very question that we asked in the beginning of our journey. The formula is simple. And so the question I would ask myself is, where has the money I've earned, where is it right now? Is it working for me? Is it spent? Is it invested? Have I used it as a catalyst to catapult me into a place of financial freedom where I don't have to work every single day, because my investments are returning money to me every single month or every single day on a daily basis, to a point where that money can support my lifestyle or support all the base needs that I have in this world, in this life, in this time? Questions I think that we should all ask ourselves. Every copper it earns, pause. So this is a really important part. My knowledge of the numbers did not forsake me, and I answered, as much as I earned in 1 year. This is the response to Algamish, who said, you've worked so hard for the last year. How much money do you have? What do you have to show for it? And Bansier responded, my knowledge of the numbers did not forsake me, and I answered, as much as I earned in 1 year. You speak but half the truth, he retorted. Every gold piece you save is a slave to work for you. Every copper it earns is its child that also can earn for you. If you would become wealthy, then what would you save must earn, and its children must earn, that all may help to give you the abundance you crave. You think I cheat you for your long night's work, he continued, but I am paying you 1,000 times over if you have the intelligence to grasp the truth I offer you. This is fire, you guys. I'm telling you, from an executing standpoint for myself and for all the books that we've read, this is truth and this is fact. So hear me out. I thought about what he said to me, and it seemed reasonable, so I decided that I would try it. Each time I was paid, I took one from each 10 pieces of copper and hid it away. So the golden rule here when saving is to keep 1/10 of what you earned for yourself. So every time Bansier made this money, he saved 1 out of the 10 coppers that he earned and hid it away. And strange as it may seem, I was no shorter of funds than before. I noticed little difference as I managed to get along without it. Now, this is a really, really important part for me because it's an answer to a question that I've been looking for. Now, when you run your own business, right, there are certain ways that you can take title as owner of your business. So you can be a corporation, you can be a S corp, you can be an LLC, you can be a sole proprietor, you can be a C corp. I think I might have said that. But nonetheless, there are certain rules that govern each one of these different types of business structures. And so one thing and when it comes to like, you earning money, you have to pay taxes on this money. And so you can pay taxes on this money two different ways. You can pay it quarterly, you can pay it yearly, or three or four different ways. You can pay it quarterly, you can pay it yearly, you can pay it every single time, like pretty much half semi-annually, and then you can pay it every single time you get paid. But it depends on which type of corporation you're in. That'll determine which type of options or which one of these options pretty much are available to you. But for the most part, those 3 or 4 options are available for all the different types, right? But on the back end, there's different ways that you can get paid out, and there's different ways that you're going to get taxed if you take certain corporation or certain business, certain different business titles, pretty much, or business styles, whatever you decide to file as. So this is important because the way that I think is the smartest way to do it is to do it every single time you get paid. So for all the business owners out there, FYI, I would say, mark my words with this, every single time you get paid, when you have a business, think about paying that money right away, because you may say, oh, well, I made $10,000 and let's say your tax bracket is 30%. And you say, all right, well, 30% of that's gone. So it's $3,000 of that's gone. That's going to taxes. Then, I only have $7,000 left. That small hit in the end of your tax year, which will be the following year more than likely, is so significant, and it brings so much more peace of mind because you're getting all that stuff out of the way early. So I'm not a tax advisor or CPA by any stretch of the imagination, but I think, as a self-employed business owner, it's important to be aware of these things and how you can take these different designations. So this thing is important. What I'm saying here is because you may feel like you are at a shorter amount of funds when you're just saving 10% of your paycheck, right? You may say, oh, I just don't have enough. Oh, I got to eat. Oh, I got to do it. Budget. Take that pain. Take that. Because the thing is like, you've been living your life and you have been surviving and you've been doing this thing. So now it's time to either get creative or sacrifice. You got to do one of the two things. And there's other options, I'm sure, but let's just narrow it down to those two things, those two options. You need to get creative, and you need to figure out a way to make 10% of what you make every single month. So if you're making $3,000 a month, you need to save $300 a month. So if you're making an excuse and you're saying, oh, I don't make enough money to save $300 a month and pay all my bills, well, then get creative. Figure out a way to legitimately create $300 additional income that you can save and store away for yourself. It may feel uncomfortable, or you sacrifice. It may feel uncomfortable, and you have to save that $300 of your $3,000 paycheck. Oh, and then taxes and health insurance. Forget all that. You make $3,000. Your number is $300. Period. So you figure out a way to do that, and you do that for a year, and you start preparing yourself for this plan that's going to happen a year and a half out. Now I'm telling you, and I'm suggesting, real estate is one of the primary ways, or one of the best ways, to create wealth and build wealth. Not only that, you're putting your money into something that is appreciating. It sounds so simple, right? It sounds so cliche, right? Yes, absolutely. But what I'm saying is, If you truly pay attention to what I'm saying, it is one of the ways where in 3 years you can have cash flow positive income, and you will be all your bills will be paid, and you will be working, and you will double your income. So Bansier continues to double your income by that's a minimum. So Bansier, and you're never too old to do it, and you're never too young to do it. Bansier said, okay, I'm gonna save one of my 10 copper gold coins. So a 12th month after Algamish had gone, he had again returned and said to me, son, have you paid to yourself not less than 1/10 of all you have earned for the past year? I answered proudly, yes, master, I have. That is good, he answered, beaming upon me. And what have you done with it? I have given it to Asmer, the brickmaker, who told me he was traveling over the seas, and in Tyre, he would buy me rare jewels of the Phoenicians or Phoenicians. When he returns, we shall sell these at high prices and divide the earnings. Okay, it's a reasonable thought. You make a little bit of money, then you turn around and you invest that money into something like a car, right? You buy a car for $5,000, turn around, you sell it for $7,000, you make $2,000 profit in a month, right? That's not bad return. But he's entrusting his money with a brickmaker. No, so every fool must learn, he growled. But why trust the knowledge of a brickmaker about jewels? Would you go to the bread maker to inquire about the stars? No. By my tunic, you would go to the astrologer. If you had the power to think, your savings are gone. Youth, you have jerked your wealth tree right up from the roots. But plant another. Try again, and next time, if you would have advice about jewels, go to the jewel merchant. There you go. Makes sense, right? Go to the person who specializes in jewels. He more than likely can get you a deal on the jewels, right? You give your money to him, figure out a plan. You can double up, triple up, quadruple up on your money. So now you're making your money work for you. He who takes advice about his savings from one who is inexperienced in such matters shall pay with his savings for proving the falsity of their opinion. Saying this, he went away. So Bansier gets back onto the horse again, and he says, all right, I'm going to start saving 1/10 of my earnings, 1/10 of my earnings, right? So again, another 12 months go by. Algamesh comes back. He says, hey, what progress have you made since I last saw you? He said, I pay myself faithfully. I replied, and my savings I have entrusted to Agar, the shield maker, to buy bronze, and each 4th month he does pay me the rental. That is good. And what do you have? And what do you do with the rental? I do have a great feast with honey and fine wine and spice cake. Also, I have bought me a scarlet tunic, and someday I shall buy me a young ass upon which to ride. To which Algamesh laughed. You do eat the children of your savings. Then how do you expect them to work for you? And how, man, this just dawned on me. Jeez. And how can they have children that will also work for you? First get thee an army of golden slaves, and then many a rich banquet may you enjoy without regret. So saying, he again went away. Jeez, this is fire, you guys. So what he's saying here is that Algamish comes back and he says, hey, so you've been saving for another 12 months. First, let us know. He gave his money. He saved for 1 entire year. And then he gave his money to a brickmaker to go and buy precious jewels. Somebody who's not specialized, somebody who's not possibly not even experienced. Not to say a brickmaker couldn't be experienced, right? I mean, you don't have to be a specialty in an area, in order to be really good at something else, other than your specialty, right? But going to the jeweler would make a little bit more sense, or at least a considerable option to stop and say, oh, I'm going to go to the jeweler also and see what he can do for me before I make this decision to invest Now, the important thing here is that he lost all of his money and he didn't give up on building his wealth. Huge, very huge. Not only did he not give up, but he went back to doing the original thing that got him to that place to see if he could do it again. Now, this is the thing that I think is really, really important. This whole journey has brought me to an understanding that life is like life is awesome, right? But we can work on year-to-year basis. Doesn't matter how old you are. You have to make the declaration. You have to make either the sacrifice or the creative decision to make 10% of your income. If you spend an entire year becoming a millionaire or sharpening or preparing yourself to become a millionaire, it's going to happen. The story here is now saying, okay, he got back on track. Bansier got back on track, and then he saved 1/10 of his income again for another year. This is year 2. Okay. Algamish comes back and says, hey, what have you done? He says, actually, I got a rental. So I'm investing my money into the shield maker, and the shield maker is buying bronze for me, and he's paying me money. He's paying me rent every 4 months. And so Algamish says, great, bravo, you've done it. You figure out a way to take your money, put it into something or someone that it is now working for you. So then Algamish asks him the second question. So how are you making the children of your money make you money? And then how are you making your children's children of your money make you money? So the children, the direct son, and the grandchildren. How are you making, not literal, but imagine coin as a person, right? Or money as a person. How are you making your coin, the parent coin, the son of the parent coin, and the grandchildren of the parent coin? How are you making those 3 tiers of income work for you? And Bansier comes back and says, well, you know what? I am spending that money on fine wine, on food, on honey, and I'm enjoying my life. And Algamish says, okay, that's funny. That's funny. Your grandchildren and the children of your parent coin aren't making you money. Reconsider your idea and get it to a point where you're saving 1/10. Okay, that's a blow. The sacrifice is great. You do that for a year, and boom, your money's making money for you, and now you're making that money back. And so the money that's being made for you needs to now start compounding and making money for you even more additionally. Okay. And then when you make that money more additionally, that money will make money for you and create a banquet where you can now eat and you can now live your life without any stress at all, because you have 3 different tiers of income working for you and making money for you. Huge, you guys. This is mind blowing for me. Like this is absolutely like it's a gentle punch in the face. Even though I don't really buy much stuff for myself or like splurge on myself as much as I think I should or that I deserve. I don't. None of that deserve crap really matters to me. It hurts sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, but I understand the bigger picture. I understand that. Okay, like the coin has to work for you. You got to get your coin to work for you, and that's huge because if you don't, you'll live paycheck to paycheck. So you first learn to live upon less than you can learn. Pause. Okay. First get thee an army of golden slaves, and then many a rich banquet may you enjoy without regret. Okay. So get your parent gold to work for you. Get your get the child of the parent gold to work for you, and get the grandchildren of the parent gold to work for you. And when you get to that point, you'll be well off. Nor did I again see him for 2 years. So he said that again and went away. Nor did I again see him for 2 years. When he once more returned, and his face was full of deep lines, and his eyes dropped, for he was becoming a very old man, he said to me, okay, so pause. I have a character change here. So okay, I got you. So Arkad is telling Bansier, got you. Okay, pause. Kobe and Bansir are best friends. Bansir is the one who had the ideas of, okay, what is going on, this, that, and the other. Bansir asked Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, I get it. How did you become wealthy? Then Arkad starts telling Bansir about Algamish. And Algamish was also a rich man. And Algamish was telling Arkad about his journey. And now Arkad is telling Bansir about his journey. Okay, so he said to me, Arkad, I got it. Hast thou yet achieved the wealth thou dreamed of? And I answered, not yet all that I desire, but some I have earned more, and its earning more. And do you still take advice of brickmakers about brick making? They give good advice, I retorted. Arkad, he continued, you have learned your lessons well. You first learned to live upon less than you could earn. Next, you learned to seek advice from those who were competent, thorough, or through their own experiences to give it. And lastly, you have learned to make gold work for you. You have taught yourself how to acquire money, how to keep it, and how to use it. Therefore, you are competent for a responsible position. I am becoming an old man. My sons only think of spending and give no thought to earning. My interests are great, and I fear too much for me to look after. If you will go to Nippur and look after my lands there, I shall make you my partner, and you shall share in my estate. So I went to Nippur and took charge of his holdings, which were large, which is pretty much like all of his accounts. And because I was full of ambition, and because I had mastered the 3 laws of successfully handling wealth, I was enabled to increase greatly the value of his properties. So I prospered much, and when the spirit of Algamish departed for the sphere of darkness, I did share in his estate as he had arranged under the law. So spake Arkad. When he had finished his tale, one of his friends said, you were indeed fortunate that Algamish made you an heir. A lot of people on the journey will say, you're so lucky. You got this, you got that, you got this, you inherited that, you did this. Fortunate only in that I had the desire to prosper before I met him. For 4 years did I not prove my definiteness of purpose by keeping 1/10 of all I earned. Would you call a fisherman lucky who for 4 years so studied the habits of the fish that which each changing wind he could cast his nets about them? Opportunity is a haughty goddess who wastes no time with those who are unprepared. If I told you, if you studied for a year, you would become a millionaire, would you do it? Waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, spending 45 minutes a day, every single day for an entire year. And let me add to that. And if you didn't become a millionaire, would you give up? That's exactly what this book is saying. Opportunity is a haughty goddess who wastes no time with those who are unprepared. You have to prepare yourself. We have to prepare ourselves. You had strong willpower to keep on after you lost your first year savings. Boom, there it is. You are unusual in that way, spoke up another. Willpower, retorted Arkad. What nonsense. Do you think willpower gives a man the strength to lift a burden the canal cannot carry, or to draw a load the oxen cannot budge? Willpower is but the unflinching purpose to carry a task you set for yourself to fulfillment. If I set for myself a task, be it ever so trifling, I shall see it through. I know. I have to finish reading the English Standard Version of the Bible. I'm on page 150 of 1700, and it's relatively dry in the beginning. Knock, knock. Self-note. How else shall I have confidence in myself to do important things? Should I say to myself, for 100 days, As I walk across the bridge into the city, I will pick from the road a pebble and cast it into the stream. I would do it. If on the seventh day I pass by without remembering, I would not say to myself, tomorrow I will cast two pebbles, which do as well, which will do as well. I would retrace my steps and cast the pebble. So be truthful to yourself. And when I say that, I mean, or pause. When the book says that, it means if you say you're going to do it, do it. Stop making excuses. I can think of a number of different things that I've been wanting to do, but I haven't done them. Siri's listening to me. So don't tell yourself you're going to do something and not do it. I don't care, and the universe doesn't care about what circumstance happens to pop up. None of that stuff matters. Get it done. Period. Even if you're on your deathbed, get it done. And I think huge suggestion interpreted out of this book. Nor on the 20th day would I say to myself, Arkad, this is useless. Having faith, even though faith is not presenting itself in your current reality. Don't lose faith or don't stop believing because the thing that you wish to manifest is not happening in the way in which you wish it to happen. Be patient with the process and continue preparing yourself for the glory ahead. Ooh. I know we're way over our time right now. We haven't even gotten into the fire. So with that being said, I will go ahead and conclude. No, I'm going to finish. There's only there's so many pages left. There's 2 pages left. Okay. Then another friend spoke up and said, if what you tell is true, and it does seem as you have said, reasonable, then being so simple, if all men did it, there would not be enough wealth to go around. This is a fundamental and principal understanding. Thank you for a gentle reminder. The richest man in Babylon. I pay homage. Wealth grows wherever man exert energy. Arkad replied, if a rich man builds him a new palace, is the gold he pays out gone? No, the brickmaker has part of it, and the laborer has part of it, and the artist has part of it, and everyone who labors upon the house has part of it. Yet, when the palace is completed, is it not worth all it costs? And is the ground upon which it stands not worth more because it is there? And is the ground that adjoins it not worth more because it is there? Wealth grows in magic ways. No man can prophesy the limit of it. Have not the Phoenicians built great cities on barren coasts with the wealth that comes from their ships of commerce on the seas? When then do you advise us to do? Or what then do you advise us to do? We also may, so that we might also become rich, asked another of his friends. The years have passed and we are no longer young men, and we have nothing put by. I advise that you take the wisdom of Algamish and say to yourselves, a part of all I earn is mine to keep. Say it in the morning when you first arise. Say it at noon. Say it at night. Say it each hour of every day. Say it to yourself until the words stand out like letters of fire across the sky. Impress yourself with the idea. Side note, brainwash yourself. Brainwash yourself with positive material. Again, something that is one of our original philosophies starting the journey to greatness 300 plus days ago. Brainwash yourself with positive material and brainwash yourself with a new mindset of I can, or I have achieved already. This is my reality, even though your quote unquote, your senses, your actual reality may be entirely different. In your mind, create a reality, use your imagination to create a new reality and repeat it to yourself until you have brainwashed yourself successfully into this positive state of mind. Change your mind, change your life. Whew. Impress yourself with the idea. Fill yourself with the thought. Then take whatever portion seems wise. Let it be not less than 1/10 and lay it by. Arrange your other expenditures to do this if necessary. But lay by that portion first. Soon you will realize what a rich feeling it is to own a treasure upon which you alone have claim. As it grows, it will stimulate you. Wow, this is really exciting stuff. A new joy of life will thrill you. Greater efforts will come to you and to earn more. For of your increased earnings will not be the same percentage be also yours to keep. Then learn to make your treasure work for you. Make it your slave. Make its children and its children work for you. So, provide also that thy family may not want should the gods call thee to their realms. For such protection, it is always possible to make provision with small payments at regular intervals. Therefore, the provident man delays not in the expectation of a large sum becoming available for such a wise purpose. Counsel with wise men, seek the advice of men whose daily work is handling money. Let them save you from such an error I made for myself in entrusting my money to the judgment of Asmer, the brickmaker. A small return and a safe one is far more desirable than risk. Build something for your family. Build something for generations to come. Put your money, save your money in a vehicle, or just save it in a bank account and then leverage that when you get a sum of money to make you more money. So the biggest thing here also is counsel with wise men. Counsel with people who have experience in what is happening, and trust and believe in them to give you this advice and then execute. Enjoy life while you are here. Do not overstrain or try to save too much. If 1/10 of all you earn is as much as you can comfortably keep, be content to keep this portion. Live otherwise according to your income, and let not yourself get niggardly and afraid to spend. Life is good and life is rich with things worthwhile and things to enjoy. And that's very true. Because I haven't taken a vacation and I don't know how long. I took a reunion trip, but I'm talking about a vacation where like me and my significant other have like left to a beach and are chilling on the beach. So that's a really good, and I'm ready to do that actually. But that's something else. Like, enjoy life. Don't save so much. Build. I mean, you could build. You could be in this state where you're like, all right, this year I'm going hard. No vacations, no breaks, or very few breaks. And I'm just going to save my money and put my money in, and I'm going to build this thing. I'm going to continue building. Then year 2 comes around. You're like, okay, buy another property, continue building, or buy this other investment, continue building. You got to take a break. You got to take a time to enjoy yourself, enjoy your life. And that's really important. Note to self. His friends thanked him and went away. Some were silent because they had no imagination and could not understand. This is a huge one too. Some were sarcastic because they thought that one so rich should divide with old friends not so fortunate. Ooh, that is a crippling thought. You've made it. So therefore, you need to give me some of what you have earned. That's a very crippling thought. Because being a loyal person to the people around you, sometimes you have this misconceived idea that you must give to them because you are loyal to them in a personal or interpersonal relationship. But when it comes to this idea that you're like this, that's a no-no. But some had in their eyes a new light. They realized that Algamish had come back each time to the room of the scribes because he was watching a man work his way out of the darkness into the light. When that man had found the light, a place awaited him. No one could fill that place until he had for himself worked out his own understanding until he was ready for the opportunity. These latter were the ones who, in the following years, frequently revisited Arcad, who received them gladly. He counseled with them and gave them freely of his wisdom, and men, broad experience, are always glad to do. And he assisted them in so investing their savings that it could bring in a good interest with safety, and would neither be lost nor entangled in investments that paid no dividends. Remember, as a closure to this chapter, a part of all you earn is yours. 10%. All right. Woo. That was a long session. We haven't had one of those in a little while here. So with that being said, welcome back to the Journey to Greatness. I will see you all tomorrow at 5 a.m. And sacrifice or creative genius? Create the 10% of what you earn to save, or sacrifice your lifestyle to save 10% of what you earn so that you can leverage yourself into a position of wealth to make your money work for you, to make the children of your parent money work for you, and to make the grandchildren of your parent money work for you. You take that rule and you apply it. It doesn't matter how you choose to earn that money, how you get that money. The moment you apply that one simple philosophy is the moment where you will start experiencing unbelievable amounts of wealth. With that being said, I hope everyone has a wonderful day today. Thank you to everybody who jumped on the messenger board this morning. Good morning. And everybody who's watching at home and showing love and support through the camera. Thank you. Good morning. I will see you all tomorrow at 5. Peace.